I caught one of the dumbest scams ever. And no, hold your applause. It didn't exactly take a genius to figure out. They advertise a 383,000% return per year. They call themselves Seifu, as in your money is safe, and if you ask how, F you. On their website, they say if you deposit $1,000, you could earn $3.8 million by the end of the year. That is, if everything goes according to plan. Anyways, normally I would kind of avoid talking about stuff like this because this kind of scheme is beneath most people's IQ. But that all changed for a couple of reasons. One, the project has a market cap of $100 million, so there are a lot of investors. Two, I talked to one of these investors who I first knew through SafeMoon, and now he works as an admin for Seifu. And when talking to him, he said something that concerned me and convinced me that I needed to investigate this. See if you could spot it.
Can I ask, are you planning on making a video? Because, I would appreciate it if you would, let it play out.
What if letting it play out is everyone getting rugged? What do you think about that?
That would be pretty damn unfortunate, yeah, and I totally agree with that. But that's not the plan here.
Now, this is the mother of all red flags. Let it play out. Sort of the rallying cry for Theranos, Nikola, and every scammer ever. And this is what changed my casual interest in this Ponzi coin into a full-blown investigation. So without further ado, let's investigate Seifu. To understand Seifu, you first must understand the founder. He's a man named Brian Legend, which sort of sounds like the name of a bad WrestleMania villain, but is actually Brian's second last name. He changed it after being accused of multiple scams, the most notable ones Fitrova, Tags Exchange, and Clever DeFi. In each case, he's managed to convince people to give him lots of money, many people lose their money, and Brian scurries off to his next project, the most recent being Seifu. Now, Brian is a humble man, so he doesn't like the term serial scammer and much prefers low-key titles like legend, visionary, entrepreneur, influencer, and investor. And he says his accusers of the past are misunderstanding him. Those weren't rug pulls, they were just failed businesses.
So there's a difference between a rug pull, which is a scam, and a failed business. They're just two separate things.
Now, as you hear, Brian almost sounds credible when you first hear him. He sounds sheepish about the fact that, I didn't know a lot about business. I didn't have the business acumen for this.
So that didn't work out, unfortunately. It just failed miserably because I didn't have the business acumen to be able to deal with the FUD that was in place.
He emphasizes, look, I'm transparent about my past. I don't have anything to hide.
I'm always transparent and I'm happy to answer any question. It's no secret, right, to what happened. So I'm happy to be public about it. That's fine.
This is why it was strange. When I asked him for an interview, he said he only would under the condition that we not talk about his failed projects and had to instead only talk about Seifu. I thought this was strange, so I dug deeper. And it turns out his projects did not simply fail because he was a bad businessman, but instead they were rug pulled and followed a pattern similar to Seifu. For example, his project Clever DeFi was advertised as being unruggable in the FAQ. Why? Because the money was supposed to be safely locked up in the LP, quote, under a time lock mechanism that will allow access to keys only after 12 months. In reality, after 1 month, money was being stolen out of the project under the function remove liquidity. And I asked Brian about this, and he dodged the question. Instead, he just asked me if I thought he would enjoy prison. Now, I thought this was a pretty strange response. And back when he was actually running the scam, he gave a different answer. He admitted money had been taken out, but said, quote, "It is correct analysis," and then said, "Don't worry, it is not a negative. A portion of LP was reallocated for funding." He said this, quote, "LP will be re-added," and that people should be strong and hodl, which is very similar to what SafeMoon said, and in both cases was not true. This LP would not be re-added, and once again directly contradicts what Brian said was possible with the LP. He said all added liquidity will be locked without key access. And Clever DeFi wasn't the only scam. There's also Fitrova, which was a fitness blockchain coin, which Brian said had partnerships with people like Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness, and more. They said so on their website. When these gyms were approached about this partnership, They said it was a lie. Quote, "I received your email. We're not partners with Fetrova. We're not associated with Fetrova and are working with our lawyers to take our names off their website. Fitness First is not connected with Fetrova." Now, this token would also tank, but before it did, it was listed on Brian's new crypto exchange called the Tags Exchange. Later, it would be delisted from it on October 5th, citing a, quote, "high security risk." So you're hearing that right. Brian's exchange delisted Brian's token for being a high risk. And Fetrova ended as a disaster. But now that he had a new grift going, Brian moved to this Tags Exchange, where he promised people low fees and said his exchange had more volume than even Binance.
Namely Tags Exchange. When I created that, we ran for a good part of a year. We were really successful. We were actually doing a lot more volume than Binance at that time. And the reason we were is because our fees were literally next to nothing. Like, we were making just bugger all, like literally no profit. We're just kind of like free trading fees, I suppose.
Now, Brian claims he was basically making bugger all with his crypto exchange, but as is a pattern with Brian, that is not true. In fact, people began reporting that they were not able to withdraw their money from his exchange. Brian would later shut it down, claiming it was a business failure, that he was making no money from it. In reality, it appears that he was being chased by accusations of fraud. Now, this has all been a preamble to bring us to the main story, Seifu. When I first confronted Brian about his sketchy past, I found it interesting that Brian appeared to have been a fan of me, and he said he liked my SafeMoon investigation, but didn't like the fact that I was now investigating him. But these dodges aren't going to work, because now that we have a baseline for Brian's past, we're going to talk about Seifu and the many problems with it. Starting with this outrageous APY. I'm not going to spend a long time with why this is so dumb and absurd. I think actually showing you is better. This is a call with one of their investors.
So that should mean that your money at the end of the year, if everything goes according to plan, will be worth millions. You'll be a millionaire after putting in $2,000.
That's the hope.
Now, obviously, that should be all you really need to see, but of course, there are more red flags. Our second red flag is the burn wallet, which Brian calls the fire pit. Now, burning tokens is a common strategy in crypto, and how it normally works is that you send tokens to a dead wallet that no one has access to so that the supply is reduced. However, when Brian chose a wallet to burn to, he didn't pick the normal one that everyone uses, but rather used a wallet that he created and has access to, which goes against every single premise of a burn wallet. But you should know, according to him, he pinky promises that he doesn't have access to this thing.
The fire pit wallet, there's obviously being asked a few times if we do have keys to the wallet. So if we've got access to the wallet, the answer is no, categorically no, 100% no. It's impossible to access. We never had the keys to the fire pit wallet in the first place. When we created the wallet, we'd done that on my Ether wallet. So yes, we created it, and we created it with a key store file, which means you can download the key store file with a password to access it. We never downloaded it. That file was deleted. So that means that we can't have access to it.
Now, I don't know about you, but this sounds all a little hard to believe. And it's very reminiscent of his clever DeFi token, where the keys were untouchable right up until they weren't. And just so you know, this fire pit wallet has $32 million of Seifu in it right now. But we're supposed to believe the key store file was deleted. Now, I know many of you are thinking, how could anyone fall for this? Well, as usual, Brian had an explanation for all this. He told his followers he had to do it this way.
Now, we can't access it. And the reason why it was created that way is because we can't have a auto compounding feature on a dead address. It needs to be a normal wallet in order to have that compounding feature. So that's the reason. So please don't think we can access the wallet, because no, that's not the way the protocol was designed. It's just, it's a limitation of the blockchain to have that wallet, like a normal wallet, and able to get that compounding feature. That's all. It's a blockchain limitation. It's not an idea of mine or anybody else. It's just, that's what needs to happen.
Now, it probably won't surprise you guys, but this is not correct. Turns out it was an idea of Brian's, and it's not a limitation of the blockchain at all. He could have done it with a dead wallet, a fact that even his own admins confirm. So this live burn wallet created by
Brian Legend. He said that the reason he created it that way was the wallet had to be live. You couldn't actually create it you can't rebase it if it's dead. And the question is that true?
It has come out that that is not true.
So the question is, who believes this stuff? I mean, the guy literally set up a burn wallet that he controls that has $32 million in it, and the community is just supposed to believe that he deleted his password. It's so absurd that, again, like, this is why it was kind of, I didn't want to cover it at first. I was like, nobody's going to fall for this stuff. But after talking to investors, it gets a lot worse. This guy says that it's all about trust. He created the wallet, but he didn't download the key store file. Do you know how easy it would be to lie about something like that?
Yeah, it would be extremely easy. There's no doubt about it. It just boils down to trust.
Now, this investor into Seifu, who's also a admin, should really know better than trusting people blindly. It came out that he had invested in both SafeMoon and Piggy tokens. Decisions he now admits were mistakes.
Oh, trust me. I know. And I will never involve myself into a sketchy, shady project. And I realize, you know, from an outside perspective, you do a lot of investigations into SafeMoon, but know this. I got pretty hard with SafeMoon, then I got again with Piggy Bank.
So why are you involved in Seifu then?
As I've done my research and it's a legitimate project.
Wow. Well, there you go. That's the mentality of these scams. No matter how much evidence, no matter how obvious the fraud, or if they've been through frauds before, sometimes holders will believe right up until the very end that this project is different. Even now, Brian is trying to spin the narrative with his followers, saying that the reason he won't respond to my very basic questions are that I have, quote, offended him by using the words shady dealings, and that's why he blocked me, not because he couldn't answer questions about his previous scams. Now, as for the future of Seifu, I predict that it will continue to make money as long as they can find more suckers. However, all Ponzi-like schemes do come to an end, and this one will be no different. Brian will abscond with millions of dollars while most of his followers end up with little to nothing. And he will move on, citing Seifu as yet another business in his past that failed for seemingly no reason. Thanks for watching. Pump the stock, and I'll see you in the next one.